And he just goes through every single change in Overwatch, including ones that no one else goes over. This is important stuff. So
the roll damage passive, which is fire, is the railgun, which damage, and this will kill. Get onto that. Passive, opportunist, you detect critical. The spread is mini tank. Like I said, the maybe 20-25 meter range, and that's kind of it. And then finally, Cassidy, in terms of major changes. So no longer has flashbang in mode by having teammates located next to TS1 with no enemies nearby. When a team takes control of TS1, it slowly pushes their team spawn. Midway between TS1
this is all push
TS1
stuff.
Pushes it, 8 minutes and goal.
This doesn't matter yet. So essentially what he does first is he goes over the Sojourn changes and some other general concept. We're not interested in those.
Play and competitive map rotations. After examining all our maps and game modes...
So this is actually important.
Assault maps are...
So I don't know what script he's reading from, but I don't know why more people didn't talk about this. But so he's reading from a script that this is Blizzard saying why they didn't do assault maps.
Being removed. With the addition of push game mode and its new maps to Overwatch, we've decided to remove all maps using the assault game mode from both the quick play and competitive map rotations. After examining all our maps and game modes, we noted that the assault game mode has always been a source of discomfort for many members of our community. We believe many of the issues for the assault maps could only be solved by making major changes to the game mode and major reworks to the maps, resulting in complete level rebuilds.
I don't know why they didn't do that. I mean, I get why they didn't do it, but I will speak of this like my own job. Sound is too low. What? Stylosis? Okay, well, we'll up it. So, what they said is... Here.
And major reworks to the maps. Discomfort for many members of our community. We believe many of the issues for the assault maps could only be solved by making major changes to the game mode and major reworks to the maps, resulting in complete level rebuilds. Instead of devoting resources to reworking very familiar maps such as Hanamura or Volskaya, we've instead decided to focus our efforts on creating maps in exciting new locations across the world, such as Toronto and Rome. Although assault maps will no longer be in the standard rotations, all assault maps, Hanamura, Temple of Anubis, Volskaya, Paris, and Horizon Lunar Colony, will still be available for use in custom games and the workshop. We'll also look for future opportunities to bring them back into quick and competitive map rotations, as well as special events and arcade game modes.
The fact that they're like, well, we could have made Assault work, but we were too lazy to change the maps. I wish I could say at my job that I can't do my job and I suck at it, and then it's okay, it's accepted, and I still make money. That concept is absolutely foreign to me. They could have rebuilt it all. They could have rebuilt all the maps. I don't know why maps don't get rebuilt. I'll say this like crazy stuff, but Overwatch maps should be getting rebuilt like every 6 months if they need to. Every 3 months, every 4 months. Like, I don't know why it's such a big deal to start making map changes. Map changes need to start happening like this. If something's wrong, map change, map change, map change. Map changes could balance Overwatch in its current state, but they're too afraid to make changes to maps. Just make it all flanks. Make it all open. Like do something. Put cover everywhere. Like, put up billboards. It doesn't have to, like, make sense. Just make changes to the maps. But they abandoned them, and they gave us push mode, which I'm fine with. I think push mode will fit the game better for what Overwatch 2 is, even if you try to shoehorn Assault into it. But yes.
5v5. For the quick play and competitive role queue models, the team composition now consists of 1 tank, 2 support, and 2 damage heroes. For quick play classic, open role queue, and arcade modes, such as Capture the Flag or Mystery Heroes, the number of players on a team is now 5 instead of 6. With 1 fewer player on each side, individual contribution means more to the overall success of the team. Fewer players on the map also changes the gameplay in a host of positive and sometimes subtle ways. Players have more space to spread out, and the battlefield is easier to understand with fewer visual effects and sounds happening around you.
I just want I just want to make a note that when they announced, or people were saying it could be a 5v5 design, and I was like, oh, these are all the benefits of 5v5. What Blizzard is saying right now is literally what I said.
The removal of one tank hero in restricted role queues has allowed us to rework all our tank heroes to be even more impactful and fun to play. This change increases gameplay clarity for all hero roles and makes matches more fluid. Sound. New weapon fire audio for all.
Okay. Everyone talks about the sound. Look, it's great, it's cool, it's wonderful. Shut the fuck up about it.
All heroes. A more complete pass to have weapon. This highly requested feature is finally making its debut in Overwatch.
Here they talk
Down
about
to the middle
ping.
mouse, G and D pad by left default. The ping system.
We're going to skip over the ping system. We've talked about it before, but basically, ping system's cool. It kind of tracks on a player as long as you're got line of sight. As soon as they break line of sight, it breaks the ping. Like the ping will just sit there where you last saw them at. Ping system, cool, good information, whatever.
Arrived allied pings that the system in the future. Okay, let's move on to some general game updates now. So we're just gonna. This is general game systems, not game modes and all the stuff that we've just been over. So firstly, armor now reduces all damage by 30%. This is
I don't know how the fuck people aren't talking about this. I started a thread on competitive Overwatch. Please go there, sort by new, upvote it, please. I don't know how the fuck people aren't talking about this. This is the single, besides one tank, this is the single biggest change in Overwatch 2. I don't fucking get it. It's an embarrassment to basically every content creator out there that they didn't state this. 30% damage reduction on everything for armor. This means Widow cannot one-shot Torb or Bastion now. Right? You headshot Torb, he has 200 health, 50 armor. He has armor, gets reduced by 30%, so he goes down 210 health. Right? He survives on 40 health left. Tanks, as we'll see, tanks got a lot of HP increases, and a lot of them have half armor. If you want to chew through 350 armor of Diva, you're doing 30% less damage. As a Junkrat, I think it's like 86 damage you're doing per shot. This is massive. Think about McCree, who does 140 on a headshot. In Overwatch 1, he does 135 damage, right? You double it and take away 5. In Overwatch 2, you lose 30% of the damage. That's 45 less damage, roughly, on 140. It'd be like 42 less damage. So McCree on a headshot does 98 damage. Not only is this amazing for survivability, but it creates such a distinction from armor and non-armor that a support that keeps a tank hero or whatever hero topped up on armor, their survivability is immense. It's one thing to try to fight through 250 armor. Now, if that 250 armor is regenning at 60 armor a second, holy fuck. Like, if Mercy's healing at 55 hit points a second, and as a Junkrat I'm doing 98 damage, the support is now mitigating 66% of my ult or my damage. I'm doing 33% damage. It's insane. Yeah, Rally doesn't give armor anymore. So this is fucking nuts, and no one's talking. Like I tweeted about it. I put a thread on competitive Overwatch. I don't know how this isn't everywhere. This is massive. This is massive. That's all I can say. Is this good for Junk? No. So, armor, the whole thing behind armor and what I liked it for, it's really weird because I was like, oh, armor makes sense to me. It punishes quick, low damage weapons, and it allows high damage weapons to have a place. So I was like, oh, with Pharah and Junkrat and Hanzo and Widow, these heroes with really big damage numbers, Well, they don't care about armor, so it's alright, so we naturally have an anti-armor type design, or at least, like, some heroes are good against armor, or better than armor, better against armor than others. I'm like, okay, cool, that's a nice dichotomy. Like, ideally, what would be really cool is if DPS was kind of like one guy played hit scan, one guy played projectile. Projectile's good against armor and can crack the armor. Hit scan guy is good against flesh. I was like, this is probably what they want. But that's all gone now. Since it's a flat reduction of 30%, the big damage boys, the four that I mentioned, Pharah, Junkrat, Widow, Hanzo. Widow and Hanzo, well, anything that headshots significantly nerfed. Junkrat, though, since he's a big damage guy, it hurts him a lot because the uniqueness that he had against armor, where he didn't give two shits about it, now he cares. Now it matters. It's an even playing field with DPS, but compared to Overwatch 1, this is definitely a nerf for large damage heroes. It's simpler to understand. Yes, it applies to everyone. For the game, this is a better change, 100%. But is it good for Junkrat? No. It's a pretty big nerf to Junkrat. Armored heroes now are a pain in the ass.
Simplified approach to the old armor system, which I honestly cannot tell you how that worked. So, yeah.
Old armor system's really easy to understand. Reduces damage by 5. At the end. Unless the damage is 10 or lower, then it reduces it by half. Because if someone does 6 damage and you lower it by 5, they do 1 damage. Wouldn't be fair.
Also, updated armor's damage mechanics so that the damage reduction applies to both the impact and the explosion.
That's an interesting thing. I guess I didn't notice that about armor in Overwatch 2. I just assumed that it already did this. But apparently the explosion damage didn't get damage reduction. Only the impact damage did.
Added a roll passive.
Would Junk passive changing to ignore armor be a good change? Yes. It would give him a very significant advantage. It would make him feel different, and it would be interesting.
To the F1 screen on hero information. Damage dealt by beams and damage over time effects no longer use a separate mitigation formula against armor. Armor should now reduce all sources of damage by 30% evenly.
Makes sense.
Temporary health gains no longer provide ultimate charge when damaged.
Okay, that's a big one. Anything, whenever you see green health, that doesn't give ult charge. So, Hammond shields, Lucio ult, any type of overhealth that, I guess, Orisa is going to get overhealth. That extra health does not gain ult charge. Brig Rally, yes.
Increased base respawn times from 8 to 10 seconds.
No one fucking talks about this. The next biggest thing, all respawns are now like overtime. Why the fuck didn't anyone mention this? 2 seconds to respawn? That's a big deal. This is a massive deal. Everyone's playing like an overtime now. So you're going to be taking a little bit more to respawn. Kills are that much more important.
Increase the speed of the push bot TS1 as it moves faster.
Okay, I don't care about this bot, but I guess the bot was really slow.
Between barricades after control switches. Changed it from 3.5 to 5.0. Now, interesting little bit of, I guess, lore.
No one gives a fuck because none of us played push, so it doesn't matter if you increase the bot speed. We don't even know how slow it was.
For that change, that was if you pushed a certain distance. I think he still needs to move faster, and we probably will see more changes to the speed of the bot. So let's move on to some general hero changes. Roll passives are now in the game. So tank roll passive, 30% knockback resistance, 50% lower ultimate generation from damage taken.
Okay, so that's a big one. 50% less ult gained when shooting tanks.
And healing taken. Damage, 10% generation from damage taken and healing taken.
So, okay. It was 30% before? Yes, that's correct. So it looks like you actually get less... Supports get less ult from healing as well. They get 50% less health from... Or 50% less ult when healing a tank. So while you can keep them up better, and their armor gives you more value, you get a much less ult charge.
Damage, 10% faster movement speed.
So hog healing can make it even less? No, hog healing. I mean, hog healing is a damage reduction. What they're saying is, well, I guess yeah, hog right now gives less ult charge. Yes, all tanks get that.
Support, after 2 seconds without being damaged, regenerate 10 health per second.
So 10 health a second for 10% movement speed for DPS heroes. That's actually not as big as I thought it would be and what I want it to be. I wish it was like 15 or 20 so they could actually really run around tanks. We'll see how the game plays though. And then supports after 2 seconds automatically regen 10 health per second. This is on top of shield mechanic for Zen and mercy passive.
Health changes. Temporary shield and armor health pools have been combined into a single health pool with no special attributes. Base armor health pools no longer mitigate damage by a flat amount. Previously, -5 damage per hit. It now reduces incoming damage by 30%. Phase effect changes. Phase effects no longer clear the Zarya Graviton Surge or Sigma Gravitic Flux movement restriction effects.
Easiest way to think of this, Zarya ult and Sigma ult now act like trap. Where if a Reaper goes into a trap, he can activate Wraith form, but he can't go anywhere. He just activates it and can't do anything. He just doesn't take damage during it.
Example, Reaper can still use Wraith form while in Graviton Surge to prevent damage, but he cannot walk out of it. May Cryo Freeze no longer removes Sigma's Gravitic Flux effect. Sombra Hack effect is now removed by phase effects. So now we're going to move on to very specific.
So Moira can't fade out of stuff. Moira can fade, but just like in Trap, Moira fades but stays in the same spot. She just disappears and then reappears in the same spot. It's just like that for Zarya ult and Sigma ult, which is fine. Those ults now act like Trap, which is fine.
Detail on the reworked heroes. Now remember, as I've kept saying throughout this video, this is from the alpha, and it's from the alpha after 2 hotfixes went into the alpha. I expect some changes to be made for beta, but you know the hero will probably remain the same in the way it plays. There won't be major changes to hero gameplay and game style, I guess. But yeah, figures probably will change. So let's begin with Doomfist. Moved from damage to tank role.
We'll skip the Doomfist and a reset because we went over that yesterday.
Base health increased from 250 to...
Well, you know what? Let's go over it. I won't post the video from yesterday. We'll go over
450. Okay. Hand cannon. Damage...
So, Doom up to 450 health. He still gets his passive.
Reduced from 6 to 5 per pellet.
His damage goes from 66 damage a shot down to 55 damage a shot, which I said yesterday. It matters a lot because while technically it's still 2 shots that are headshots to kill a 200-point hero, at 55 damage a shot, like because it's a shotgun, sometimes it'll miss a little bit. So that 55 damage actually means a lot. So it'll probably take him an extra shot, even for good Dooms, to kill someone in a very optimal way. Most of the time, I'm going to assume it's just going to take 2 or 3 more shots.
Ammo regeneration rate increased from once every 0.65 seconds to 0.4 seconds.
It's a 33% increase in reload speed, so it's very good.
Rocket Punch. Impact damage range reduced from 50 to 100 to 15 to 30 damage.
So for people that didn't hear that, 100 damage used to be Doomfist Punch, and now it's 30. Doomfist Punch has been severely nerfed in damage.
Wall Slam damage range reduced from 50 to 150. Reduced from, 50 to 150 yep. to 20 to 40.
So Doomfist went from 50 to 100 plus 50 to 150, so a total of 250 damage, down to, what was it, 50 to 70 plus...
Maximum reduced from, 50 to 150 to 20 to 40.
20 to 40. So he does 70 max damage on a punch. Massive decrease in lethality, but it is AoE. If he punches someone, if you're around that main person, it'll punch all of them, and if his charge from his defensive ability, it'll stun everyone if they hit a wall.
Maximum charge uptime reduced from 1.4 to 1 seconds. Impacting a target now causes a secondary larger cone area check to grab extra targets to potentially knock them back as well.
So area cone check. So if Doomfist punches this guy, the game finds this position and checks in a cone. Let's do it this way, in a cone. If anything else is around him, and then those people get hit as well.
Uppercut ability removed.
Uppercut being removed is a huge deal because Doomfist could slam uppercut, and in between slam and uppercut, he would get this phantom shot off. That is one of the key reasons why he would burst people down instantly. And from the slam, you can't really move away from it, and to the uppercut, you can't do shit either. So it was like an instant shot, headshot. It really was important to his kit for lethality purposes, but now that's gone.
Instead, there's a new ability called Power Block. Entering a blocking stance reduces damage taken from the front by 90%. Blocking at least 100 damage causes Doomfist Gauntlet to become supercharged, empowering the next rocket punch in the following ways.
So, Doomfist puts up this big shield. After 100 damage, it's fully charged and it falls. So you can get through the shield fucking instantly. It's 90% damage reduction only from the front. You can shoot him from the sides, but this ability happens so quickly. You can't, if you're like, oh, Doom has his shield up, let me flank him. By the time you finish that thought, the shield's already been broken and is down. It's on an 8-second cooldown, and it charges his fist after 100 damage. People get knocked back farther. It's a quicker punch. It does more damage. Does not a huge amount more. But also, if they hit a wall, that's when they're stunned. So default, by getting punched by Doom, does not stun anymore.
Travels 50% faster and further. The area of effect blast that knocks back additional targets is now twice as large. Targets impacting a wall will be stunned for an additional 1 second.
There you go.
Empowered Fist now increases Rocket Punch's damage by plus 50%.
50%, but that's not a big deal because best case scenario, he's doing 70 damage, so it'll do like 105. Good damage, but at the same time, when we're talking 250 per punch less, like on Overwatch 1, not a big fucking deal.
Seismic Slam, 8-second cooldown. Can be cancelled by pressing the button again.
Seismic Slam is now an up and a down, and I'll show another video after this just showing the video. You can cancel it on the way up, and you float for a very long time. Doom has really, really good mobility right now, like amazing mobility.
Move from ability 2 to ability 1, shift key by default. Now launches Doomfist into the air in the direction the player is aiming. Upon landing, creates a shockwave in a wide area, dealing 50 damage and slowing enemy movements.
When I show you the video, the wide area is insane. Think like Earthshatter times 2. Like it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers.
No longer has different behavior between being activated in the air or on the ground. No longer pulls enemies in.
Yes, so this is another thing I don't think a lot of people notice. Doomfist Slam doesn't knock you into the air. And he lost uppercut, so he doesn't hit you up in the air either. It slows you now, but Doomfist lost a lot of his control. Fist is great for control now, but he lost like half of his toolset for control, which is great.
Meteor Strike, Ultimate, damage range reduced from 50...
Do you keep full movement control when slammed? Yeah, it doesn't do shit now. It only slows you.
15 to 200 to 15 to 100. Impact damage at the center at 1 meter radius unchanged from 300 damage. Knockback.
So let me just paraphrase this a lot better now. Doomfist, he hits you in the center. There's a 1 meter radius around the center of his ultimate. That still does 300 damage currently, but its cast time is 0.5 seconds. It's a lot faster. Outside of this 1 meter radius, for like 6 meters I believe it is, the damage has been reduced to like minimum of 200 to a minimum of 50. In fact, it does like I think 50 to 100 damage. So as soon as you get out of this immediate vicinity, he's not going to kill you whatsoever. He'll deal some damage. He'll get some shields from it, and it'll slow you. It now has a slow effect. But for the most part, unless he hits directly on you, you will not die.
Back removed. Now additionally slows the movement speed of all enemies hit by 50% for 2 seconds. Cast time reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds.
So it's twice as fast.
Diva. Base health increased from 300 to 350. Fusion cannons, primary fire.
So Diva got a health boost. Just health, though, not armor, health.
Time reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds.
Yep.
Diva. Base health increased from 300 to 350.
Yep.
Fusion cannons, primary fire movement penalty reduced from 50 to 30%.
So she moves 20% faster now when shooting.
Weapon spread reduced from 4 to 3.5.
Her weapon spread is tighter.
Defense matrix now has a maximum duration of 3 seconds, which is an increase from 2.
Defense matrix, 50% more charge.
Orisa,
and that's it. D.Va was straight up buffed. More health, tighter spread, more defense matrix. From what I heard from everyone talking about Overwatch 2 today, D.Va's the best tank out there. Didn't she get a slight damage nerf? No. People were saying she got a damage nerf, but I'm pretty sure Stylos is reading off like a fucking script of patch notes. So, from the data given, I'm trusting Stylosa over everyone else who's just like, oh yeah, D.Va kind of got some damage nerf. Maybe it's recent, that's true, but we'll see.
Thanks to years of combat and Efi Oladelli's tireless work, Orisa's mind and abilities have evolved. She has grown fully into a role as a defender of Numbani.
Alright, Orisa is not a defender of Numbani. Orisa is a fucking menace that's going to kill everyone. She is a wild, I don't know, fucking horse now. We'll go into the details, and I'll pull up Flat's video because he does a good job showing the abilities. Because Stylos' video is just pre-recording. Flat's actually is like, hey, here's what Orisa looks like, and this is what it's doing.
Base armor increased from 200 to 250.
So 50
Base
more armor.
Health increased from 200 to 250.
So she gets 100 more health total, 50 of it armor.
New primary fire augmented fusion driver now rapidly fires 8 plasma projectiles per second. Projectiles start out large and shrink as they travel. Total consecutive shots before reaching maximum heat increased from 32 to 42. Damage starts at 10 and...
So damage starts at 10. So, a big thing about Orisa. Orisa and Sigma in Overwatch 1, their strongest points is not double shield. It's their mid-range damage. They're fucking insane with their mid-range damage. Orisa right now, I believe, does 11 damage per shot. I don't know how many shots per second, but it does 11 damage. I think it shoots a little bit slower than what they're talking about, because this is 8 damage a second. Or 8 shots a second. But, Orisa suffers from double fall-off. Not only does the projectile get smaller as it travels, but it also does less damage. And it's a pretty fucking hard fall-off. We'll see it in Flat's video. Yeah. I see 1020 says currently like 12.5 or 11.5 shots per second. Wiki says 12 shots a second. Okay, so Orisa got a heavy damage nerf here. But it's a bit more accurate overall, but then there's definitely a lot of range nerfs. So you're like, wait, her damage got nerfed. She doesn't sound very good. Wait till we see the fucking javelin and the rest of her skills. She's a menace. She's a goddamn menace.
Scales down to 4 damage over 25 meters. Damage fall off medium range increased from 7.5 to 10 meters. Uses a heat mechanic instead of ammo.
She doesn't have an ammo clip. She can keep on shooting until the heat gets dissipated on her gun. If you overheat it, it's a 3-second reload, which is only like 0.5 seconds. I think Orisa's 2.5, maybe a little bit more reload, but so it's not that big of a thing. Apparently she can shoot, I believe he mentioned it before, which was like 42 shots. But yes.
Firing the weapon increases cooldowns while not firing. If the weapon overheats, a forced release of heat prevents the weapon from being fired for 3 seconds. New secondary fire, energy spear. Orisa throws a spear forward, although actually I must correct this actually. I don't think it's not called energy spear, it's energy javelin, I think, but names of abilities and stuff were probably still being worked on.
Insane, by the way.
But yeah, this is the spear that she throws. Orisa throws a spear forward, impacting the first enemy in its path. No longer able to be reflected or destroyed, although the devs do say this is not likely to stay, but we are trying it out. It pierces breakable objects. Deals 80 damage, stuns enemies for 0.2 seconds, and knocks them back 6 meters. If the enemy collides with a wall while being knocked back, they take 40 more damage and are stunned for an additional 0.3 seconds. Fortify now slows Orissa's movement speed by 20%.
So Fortify gets buffed insane. So it retains its current ability of 50% damage reduction, can't be headshot, but also...
while active. Now...
well, she gets 20% movement slow, but...
provides 125 extra health while active.
125 extra health. So this is on top of 50% damage reduction, which with Orisa, so we talked about armor reduction today. Armor reduction is 30% reduction flat. But Overwatch, unless it's changed in Overwatch 2, has a 50% cap on damage mitigation. So Orisa with armor does not get 80% damage reduction, it's capped at 50%. So base Fortify is max damage reduction no matter what.
Ability 2, energy spear, spin, spear spin, javelin spin, whatever you want to call it. Orisa rapidly spins a spear for 1.75 seconds, destroying incoming projectiles, increasing...
projectiles is anything. Anything. Bullets, anything, not just projectiles.
Forward movement speed by 60%.
60% faster movement speed. Okay. It's Sigma's ability. It's Sigma's absorbability, but with a spinny staff, and she moves faster forward.
Now causes continuous damage and knockback to enemies as the javelin spins, up to 90 total damage. A portion of the forward speed bonus now persists for 2 seconds after the spin ends, 20% forward speed. No longer causes a single instance of 40 damage, now causes continuous damage and knockback. Ultimate ability, Terra Lance, Terra Surge. Orisa pulls in nearby enemies and becomes fortified while charging up an area of effect attack for 4 seconds.
What happens with this is you activate your ult, it does a halt on you. It pulls everyone in, and you start channeling this AoE attack for up to 4 seconds. At 4 seconds, it does 250 damage to a big area around her. You can cancel it early if you just want to do a bunch of damage right away. But you will likely not kill people. It also activates Fortify, so she can't just be targeted and burst down. Because remember, with the effective HP, she has 500 health. She gets an extra 620 or extra 125 to put up to 625 in Fortify. She takes 50% damage reduction. She's nearly at 1,000 effective HP. You're not fucking bursting her down without... and you can't headshot her. No one's bursting her down.
Dealing 225 damage based on how long the ultimate was charged.
225, I was wrong.
While charging, deals minor damage over time and slows nearby enemies' movement speed by 20%. Initial pull radius increased from 7.5 to 8.5 meters, now to match the rest of the ability, now applies all effects of Fortify while active. Reinhardt, base armor increased from 200 to 300.
So Reinhardt gets an extra 100
base
armor.
Health increased from 300 to 350.
Reinhardt goes up to 150 total. 100 of it is armor. So he's up to 650 armor, or 650
Barrier
health.
field, health reduced from 1,600 to 1,200.
So this isn't the biggest part. So his shield lost 400 health, but listen to the second part.
Regeneration rate reduced from 200 to 144 health.
It's a weird amount. 200 to 144. But it is somewhat significant that he's losing 50 HP or 50 shield health regen a second. That adds up quite quickly. At about 50 a second. So if he's trying to heal his shield, it's going to take a bit longer once you break it. A little bit more reward for breaking a shield, which I like.
Second, charge. Steering turn rate increased by 50%. Can now be manually cancelled.
Yeah,
Charge,
so charge
wall
is
damage
cancelable.
reduced from 300 to 225. Cooldown reduced from...
Okay, so charge got a damage nerf. But for most people it doesn't frickin' matter because it still kills 200 hit point hero.
10 to 8 seconds. Fire Strike now has 2 ability charges.
People are saying Reinhardt's the worst in the game.
By 1.
I heard Reinhardt's still useful if you play Mei and you just go a charge comp and you just get in their face, wall them off, and kill them. So it seems like Reinhardt has a position. He has a style that he's good with. I think Reinhardt is probably better than people think because personally I think people suck. Doesn't that make him team dependent? Makes him team dependent, but to me, Reinhardt in Overwatch 2 is the maximum you want an anchor tank or a main tank or a team dependent tank, whatever you want to call that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't think all tanks have to fit in this very narrow subset of what it means to be a tank. Tank should have a wide ability between like Hog and Reinhardt and everything in between. So the fact that, remember, Overwatch is about accessibility. If someone wants to play a main tank, there should be an option for them to play it, and that option is Reinhardt now. Nothing wrong with that. Even if he's not the strongest, he's still strong. It's kind of like how Junkrat is now. Junkrat's the worst DPS. Does that make him weak? No. He can still fuck people up pretty easy, but he's just weaker. And that's kind of what Reinhardt has done.
100 to 90, passive Steadfast has been replaced by the tank role passive. Roadhog, base health increased from 600 to 700.
So, we always talk about Junkrat. At this point, Junkrat cannot tire most heroes to death. Most tanks. You can still do it to Zarya, Sigma, Hammond no, Reinhardt no, Hog no, Orisa yes, but she can use Fortify, so no. Tanks are really beefy now. With armor, they're even beefier. Tank Doom without his shield? Yeah, Doom without his shield would do it. I forget to add Doom to that list. But yeah, so Tyre's lost some value against tanks, which, okay, I guess we have to kill supports with it.
Take a breather, total healing increased from 300 to 350. Sigma.
So all that happened to Hog was he got an extra 100 health, Take a breather got 50 more health, so it stays at 50% health regen for, one Take a breather. No other changes. People are saying he's kind of weak. People were saying Hog just can't keep up with people, and they said Orisa bullies Hog really hard, like to the point that you don't want to ever play him.
Base shields increase from 100 to 200, 350. Sorry. Sigma. Base shields increase from 100 to 200. Accretion damage.
So he gets an extra 100 shield, Sigma.
Increased from 70 to 100.
Rock gets 30 more damage, which makes it combo to kill a 200 hit point hero. So Sigma gets his one... It's a one shot if both shots hit you, right? Like, he gets his combo back.
Experimental barrier. Barrier health reduced from 900 to 700.
Loses 200 health on his shield.
Barrier regeneration rate is now 100 health per second.
Sigma had a lower shield regen a second than Reinhardt, but I don't remember how much. But it's at 100 hit points a second now, so it takes 7 full seconds. Well, I don't know the math on that. Shield comes back at like 25% health after 3 seconds, and then it starts regenning. So I would have to do the health or the math on that, but it looks like probably after 7 seconds he would get his full health shield back or something like that.
Winston. Base armor increased from 150 to 200.
So 50 extra armor.
Tesla cannon now has a secondary fire. Hold secondary fire to charge, releases a 25-meter range jolt of electricity, deals up to 50 damage, costs 25 ammo.
Very simple, just charge a right click and shoot it. It's very simple. It does it only does 50 damage. It's not huge. It only goes 25 meters, so not very far. It's just this mid-range thing that he can use to shoot people in the ass when they run away from him. Really, that's I think what it is. I bet with the DPS movement increase, when they tested it with Winston, they're like, Winston, everyone just runs from him. Like, you jump on them, you do this awesome combo, and they get away from you with like 20 health left. And they're like, let's give them this thing to harass snipers with, to harass heroes with, and also for a catch.
Barrier projector. Barrier projector health is now 800. Barrier projector duration reduced from 9 to 8 seconds. Cooldown reduced from 13 to 12 seconds.
So 1 second reduction on everything about the shield.
Primal Rage, which is the ultimate, has been decreased in cost by 10%. Wrecking Ball. Base armor increased from 100 to 150. Base health increased from 500 to 550.
Extra 100 total for Hammond. 50 of it, armor.
Adaptive shield's radius increased from 8 to 10 meters. Adaptive shield's health gain per target increased from 75 to 100.
This is just old Hammond, I believe. This is Hammond where each target gave 100 extra shields and has a larger radius.
Zarya, base health.
That's it. That's all they did to Hammond. Was just give him, because Hammond's in a great spot.
Health increased from 200 to 250. Base shields increased from 200 to 225.
So she gets 75 more health, and only 25 of it is shield, so she's at 475. By far and in large, every single person I have seen today has said Zarya is the best tank, hands down. She is an amazing tank. And everyone's like, Zarya sucks. Zarya's going to be the worst tank in the game. And she's apparently fucking amazing. I believe meta's like, people are saying it's like Zarya Reaper and they just kill everything.
Particle cannon, secondary fire knockback scaler increased from 50 to 100%.
I don't know what that means. Her knockback on her right click is going to be twice as strong. That's all I can really say. I don't know what 50 to 100 means. It's just kind of like a meaningless number, but it's twice as much, so it's been doubled.
Particle barrier, projected barrier. Both barriers now have a 10-second cooldown on a shared 2-charge system.
That's her whole gimmick
cooldown now begins immediately on ability use instead of when the barrier has expired.
That's a
Energy
nice one.
degeneration increased from 1.8 to 2.2 per second.
Oh, do you guys remember when I said that Zarya change I wanted? You know, where she would use bubble more often and could use it a little bit more, but then the charge would be quicker to decay because that would make her more churn and burn style. Ba-bow, called it.
Barrier's duration increased from 2 to 2.5 seconds.
Oh, I didn't know that. So her bubble lasts an extra half a second, so fucking shoot it, just destroy it.
Projected barrier targets cannot be targeted again by the ability for 2 seconds. Barrier targets cannot be targeted again by the ability for 2 seconds.
Okay, that's fine. So, just running that through my head. Zarya bubble lasts for 2.5 seconds, but you can't use it on the same guy within the 2 seconds. One, this reminds me of the idiot switch for Junkrat. It stops people from double bubbling someone instantly when they're kind of spamming. But yes, if you instantly destroy the bubble on someone, you have a chance to kill them before they can just get double bubbled. How much health does Zarya Bubbles have? I believe it's still 200.
So let's move on to the damage heroes, and let's begin with Ashe. Bob at the ultimate has...
Stop letting Bob be charged when he's out. I don't know why they won't make that fucking change. It's not like Ashe is hurting for fucking alt charge.
As base health, reduced from 1,200 to 1,000.
So 200 less health on Bob.
Configuration.
That's it. That's all they did for Ashe. 200 less health. What's the idiot switch for Junkrat? Back in the day, Junkrat couldn't detonate his tire for like 0.75 seconds, which was the exact distance it would cover for it to not do self-damage to kill Junk. So essentially the idea was, hey, Junkrat gets control of the tire, he can move it for this amount of period, but he can't kill himself with it because we don't allow him to detonate it. There's still an idiot switch, it's just a lot shorter cooldown, but as soon as you get gain control of the tire, you should be able to detonate it. You do not.
Recon. Weapon damage increased from 20...
So this is a lot of changes about Bastion right now, and we'll just listen to it.
...to 25. Fire rate reduced from 8 to 5 shots per second.
I think that's an overall DPS nerf.
Weapon spread removed.
But he's always perfectly accurate.
Ammo reduced from 35 to 25. Configuration Assault, renamed from Configuration Sentry. Bastion is now able to move in this form at 35% reduced movement speed, and now has a 6-second duration and 12-second cooldown.
I asked for this change as well. I was like, you know what? Bastion's turret should be on cooldown so that you can play around it and you can make it stronger and it feels fair. Took them 3 or 4 years and they finally did it.
Now has infinite ammo for its duration.
That's important. I like that Bastion doesn't need to...
Weapon spread is now constant 2 degrees and no longer becomes more accurate as you fire. Damage reduced from 15 to 12.
There you go. IC 1025 or yeah, IC 1025. He got a damage nerf in it, but you don't have to reload, so that's nice.
Self-repair ability removed and replaced with the A36 tactical grenade.
So no more heal, but
New
he shoots a grenade.
Fire A36 tactical grenade. This ability replaces self-repair, but is bound to alternate fire instead of E by default. Launches a grenade that can bounce off walls but sticks to players or the ground. It explodes after a short delay, dealing up to 130 damage.
We'll talk about McCree as well, but Sojourn gets an AoE ability, McCree gets an AoE ability, Bastion gets an AoE ability. Junkrat's concept of damage, like AoE, has been severely removed from Overwatch. It's just not there.
Configuration Tank Ultimate. Ability replaced with Configuration Artillery. New Configuration Artillery. Locks Bastion in place to fire up to 3 long-range artillery shells.
Yep.
These shells deal high damage in a large area, but the damage fall-off is significant. The targeting works similarly to Doomfist Meteor Strike Ultimate,
Yep.
but you can click 3 times to launch projectiles. The projectiles come straight down from the air at targeted locations, but they are projectiles in every other sense and can be blocked or destroyed by abilities.
This is a big important part. If D.Va's looking up when Bastion's ulting, she can eat it. Shields stop it if they block up. So, yeah.
Ironclad passive disabled. Cassidy P.
So, Ironclad passive, so he doesn't get any damage reduction now, Bastion. He now doesn't get any self-heal, but he gets a lot of other stuff. It's definitely more damage focused. It's definitely more sniper focused. Like, he has perfect accuracy with his gun. He can kind of counter snipe. And again, with the armor change, because Bastion's actually a counter sniper now. Because a full Whittle headshot does 300 damage, it gets reduced by 30% because he has armor, so it does 210 damage. Makes him live. He can put pressure on snipers. I think that's going to be his role, is this counter snipers, type hero.
Secondary fire, Fan the Hammer, fire rate increased by 18%.
Fan the Hammer happens faster. Fucking just crazy ass Fan the Hammer.
Flashbang, ability removed and replaced by Magnetic Grenade. New Magnetic Grenade.
This ability is
Grenade
so
that can stick
stupid.
to enemies within 10 meters. Triggering the homing mechanism now requires the target to be within the grenade's maximum range of 10 meters. Range while homing increased from 8 to 11.5. Impact damage reduced from 10 to 1. Automatically homes in on an enemy close to the reticule when thrown. Deals 130 damage, split between 0 impact damage, 65 explosion damage, and an additional 65 damage to the stuck target at the time of detonation.
McCree got a homing concussive mine. If concussive mine homed in on people, they would be so pissed. But McCree's does it. Also, McCree's does more damage. Now,
detonation time on stuck targets decreased from 1.5 to 1.25 seconds. Deadeye Ultimate. Target at the time of detonation. Explosion damage and homes in on an enemy close to the reticule when thrown. Deals 130 damage, split between 0 impact damage, 65 explosion damage, and an additional 65 damage to the stuck target at the time of detonation. Detonation time on stuck targets decreased from 1.5 to 1.25 seconds.
That's fine.
Deadeye Ultimate. Now,
okay, it doesn't say it's AoE. It does 65 damage in an AoE, but I don't know how big that AoE is. It could be the same, so it could be like, what's Flashbang now? 5 meter radius?
Grants 40% damage reduction.
But either way, I'll show you a clip. Let's see if I can find the clip on Twitter. Watch this shit. Alright. Just having a hard time playing that video. It's a complicated video. Look how much that homes. So yeah, that's... But remember, it's going to take more skill than Junkrat. Hold on. It's on a 10-second cooldown. But yeah, it does 130 damage, you just body shots and you're dead. I guess they just want McCree to destroy anyone within 10 meters with little to no skill. Flashbang was bad enough. It does 125? Nah, he just said it did 130 plus 1. So we'll see what it does, but it does seem a bit bullshitty. Junk's Concussive Mine is on 8-second cooldown. Yeah, it's 8-second cooldown. It's a 3-meter AoE with heavy fall off.
While channeling the ultimate Deadeye, now grants 40% damage reduction.
So I don't know if this is going to stay. They were talking if it would or wouldn't, but Deadeye gives you 40% damage resistance.
While channeling the ultimate Deadeye, Deadeye now damages.
It's almost like, it's so stupid. It's like, oh, we're going to put this weakness. You're slow and, you know, you can't really move too fast. People can kill you. That's a weakness. You know what? No, never mind. Fuck it. You just don't take damage now. It's really dumb.
Deadeye damage now builds at a constant 130.
I don't know Deadeye's damage currently, but
per second.
It does 135 a second now, and then I think it doubles after a second or two.
Damage ramp up after 2 seconds of lock-on increased from 130 to 260. Maximum duration increased from 6 to 7 seconds. Ultimate cost decreased by 10%. Echo Focusing Beam. Maximum damage per second reduced from 200 to 175.
It's a damage nerf on Beam that does 175. It doesn't fucking matter.
Duplicate Ultimate. Echo copies the target's combined health value, including health, armor, and shields, up to a total of 300 health.
So Echo, whenever she duplicates now, it has a max of 300 health. It's a fair nerf, and I think I actually said this.
E.g., a duplicated Tracer will have 150 health, and a Reinhardt will have 300 health. Hanzo, Storm Arrows damage reduced from 70 to 65.
So Hanzo gets a nerf. Pretty big one. He can headshot you once. He can hit you again with a Storm Arrow, but then he has to hit you a 4th time with the Storm Arrow. Or 3rd time. Or 2 headshots. I would have liked Storm Arrow not to deal headshot damage. I would too.
Junkrat.
But that was it for Hanzo.
Steel Trap no longer prevents all movement for its target. Now it slows its target by 65% until they reach its max chain length. Then it breaks. Still prevents movement abilities from being activated.
So this is a weird... It's weird because of how it's going to work. So a target hits Junkrat's trap. You can still move while trapped, but at 65% lower speed. You are... I don't know if there's a max duration. If you just sat in this thing and just said, fuck it, I'm just chilling here. I don't know how long trap would last on you. But essentially, trap lasts as long as you get out of the AoE of it. So you hit it, you start going 65% slower, and you have until you get out of the trap radius, and then it breaks automatically. So if you get trapped right around a corner, you can either like walk back, you can walk forward, you can do something. But it still disables movement abilities. What's interesting about it is the fact that, yeah, like, if someone just sits in it, I guess they're immobilized. They're not immobilized, but they're getting reduced damage for a very long time, right? Until they actually walk out of it. I don't know how this is going to interact with anyone. Trap is a fucking... just rolling dice. I don't have any dice here. I was going to throw a dice, but I don't have dice. No dice, man. It's the worst ability in the game for its cooldown. Yeah, for its 10-second cooldown, it's still 10 seconds. I'd looked at that. They did up it to 100 damage. But I don't know what's going to happen when a Hammond rolls into it super fast. Does he break it? Does he get slowed? What happens? Does he hit it and then movement abilities are disabled? So he has to hop out of ball form? I don't know. I can tell you how it should work for most heroes, but like with Tracers and Genjis that can jump over it, Lucios that can run through it, Mercies can run through it, Hammonds can run through it. I don't know.
Damage increased from 80 to 100.
Oh, 20 more damage, guys. Whatever the fuck
Projectile
that means.
speed increased from 10 to 17.
So it is a 70% increase in throwing speed. So that just means he can throw trap 70% farther. Whatever that's worth. That's cool. I wouldn't consider that a buff. That seems like a quality of life thing. It is a buff, but it just... that's cool. Could someone check the numbers for me? Not trap. Concussive mine and your shots go 25 meters a second, right? I'd like to set up faster. Yeah, I wish you could throw it at people and it hit people and it worked right away. Wiki confirms 25 meters a second for both. Thank you, Luca. So it's getting up there. I don't know how far you can throw it, but you're going to be able to toss it pretty damn far. Right, 25 meters a second mine, you can chuck that pretty fucking far with a good arc. I'm curious what trap is like. Cool.
May.
And he doesn't say the hidden nerve. Drunkrat's mine now flashes a bright light and makes sound. So you can't fucking kill people with it, really. It's not. It's basically removes the entire hidden trap death aspect of it. I'll show you guys that in a bit.
Endothermic Blaster, freeze, stun, removed. Now immediately slows targets by a constant 50% instead of building up over time. Slow duration reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds.
So you're slowed for whenever you get hit with Maze. It does 100 DPS. It immediately slows you by 50% for 0.5 seconds.
Damage per second increased from 55 to 100. Ammo increased from 120 to 150.
Yep.
Ultimate cost increased by 15%. Cryo Freeze no longer removes Sigma Gravitic Flux effect.
We talked about that before.
Ice Wall, pillar health reduced from 400 to 250.
That's a pretty big thing. Maze Wall, like Junkrat's going to shit on it.
Ice Wall range reduced from 35 to 20 meters.
15 meter reduction in where you can cast Ice Wall. Maze Wall got nerfed pretty hard. I get it that there's only one tank, and you're not going to be able to bust through wall very easily. Like, think about this. Your one tank walks through a choke point, you wall behind it. If it was 400 health, they'd be fucked, right? There's no second tank to add damage, or if two tanks got trapped on the other side to make them survive, like, they'd be screwed. So I get why they did it, but it's 250 health is... I mean, Junkrat can get rid of that near instantly.
Reaper, Hellfire shotguns, damage per pellet reduced from 6 to 4 to 5.4, 120 to 108 max.
So Reaper got a little bit of a damage nerf
per shot. Shotgun spread increased from 6 to 8.
But 6 to 8 spread increase. So I believe Reaper was showing to be really, really strong. There were no stuns to deal with his ultimate. Like, Reaper apparently is a fucking menace. He's very strong. So all these nerfs, people are like, why are you nerfing Reaper? He's not that good. Reaper's good. He seems to be amazing in Overwatch 2, so they had to nerf him.
Sojourn, primary fire, railgun, rapid firing projectiles that generate energy on hit. Secondary fire.
I believe from what I've seen, each bullet for Sojourn charges her railgun 5 charge a hit. I believe a headshot may charge it twice as much, but even when she's shooting shields, it's 5 a hit.
High impact shot that consumes stored energy. Secondary fire damage max reduced from 140 to 130.
So her max damage with 100 charge, Sojourn does 130 damage with the railgun, but it can headshot, so she can do 260. Pretty damn strong.
Secondary fire energy to damage scaling adjusted. Lower energy shots are now less damage than before.
So the weird thing about this is like they're saying what changed from patch to patch in the alpha. We don't really care about that, but we care about the end result.
Secondary fire projectile radius reduced from 0.1 to 0.05.
So apparently her projectile of 0.1 was too big, so now it's 0.05. Also, what was the other one? Oh, it seems like it scales not linearly, but now, the more charge you have, it starts low, and damage ramps up really quick at the high. I believe someone said at 75 charge or 70 charge, you can one-shot a 200 hit point hero in the head.
And is no longer increased by the ultimate. Disruptor shot. Launch an energy burst that snares and deals damage to enemies within it.
So this is her right click or whatever it is that it's an AoE slow that deals damage.
Power slide. Grounds.
He didn't say shit about it. If you stay in the AoE of this slow, you will die. It does like 250 damage total if you stay in it for its whole duration. It does 200 damage? Okay, so it does 200 damage. But it is a slow, it is an AoE, you can just walk out of it, I get that.
Slide that can cancel into a high jump. Power slide cooldown increased from 5 to 7 seconds.
Power slide is
Overclock
so good.
ultimate. Railgun energy auto charges for a short duration and shots pierce enemies.
So she gets 6 shots off during her ultimate. It's just like Genji Blade, really.
Sombra machine pistol.
Sombra's fucking stupid strong. I think why they're not shitting on snipers right now is because of all of the off tanks getting mobility and just being menaces. 2, because they're buffing a lot of flankers. Tracer, Genji get buffed with only 1 tank. Sombra now is like, if you're in your scope, you're going to get your ass kicked because she's going to kill you. It seems like they're giving a lot more options to kill snipers.
Damage reduced from 8 to 7. Spread.
Do I think that's a good way of dealing with snipers? No. I do not want counterpicking in my game. Counterpicking is a lazy man's way at balancing the game. They should allow all heroes to fight all other heroes so that it's just more even. People can just pick what they want and they can still find value no matter what. I think that's the superior way to design a game. I think designing counters is dumb. It's lazy. Read my first blog post that I did in 2017 why I think it's dumb.
Spread reduced by 10%. Hack. Machine pistol. Damage reduced from 8 to 7.
So 8 to 7, what is that? Is that like a 15% damage reduction with her gun? Just using
Spread reduced by 10%.
Spread reduced by 10% is big. That almost recovers the damage that she lost.
Cooldown reduced from 8 to 4 seconds. Cooldown is no longer reduced when hacking health packs. Health pack hack duration reduced from 60 to 30 seconds.
She no longer hacks health packs for a fucking minute, thank God. But her hack's on a 4-second cooldown. If you interrupt her hack, it goes on full cooldown, which is 4 seconds. Hack only lasts for 1 second, but it has a debuff for 7 seconds where she does 40% bonus damage to you.
Ability lock duration reduced from 5 to 1 second. Now reveals hacked enemies through walls to Sombra's team for 8 seconds. Interrupting hack duration.
That right there is so goddamn strong. It reveals the enemy's position for 8 seconds.
During the channel time now incurs the full cooldown. Cast time increased from 0.65 seconds to 0.85 seconds.
So it takes 0.2 seconds longer to pull it off.
Stun duration on Bob reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. Lingering Hack also added to Bob, including being able to see him through walls, which is the same as players. Self-reveal detection time after hacking increased from 0.5 to 0.75 seconds. Stealth, fade-in time reduced by 50%. Enemy detection radius increased from 2 to 4 meters.
You can see her from a little bit farther away.
Sombra can now use hack during stealth without ending the stealth ability, but is revealed to enemies while doing so. Passive Opportunist, added functionality. Damage dealt to hack targets is now increased by 40%. EMP Ultimate, in addition to hacking them, now also deals 40% of current health as damage to enemies. No longer deals additional damage to base shield health pools, still deals massive damage to barriers.
So, Sombra's ultimate doesn't affect blue shields anymore, like health shields, but it instantly destroys actual shields, like Sigma's, Reinhardt, Winston, Symmetra. It will instantly destroy all of those. It also does 40% of your current health and damage to you. On top of that, you all get hacked, so you lose abilities for 1 second, but then you take 40% extra damage after losing 40% of your health. Zen mains are crying oily tears of joy right now. It doesn't help them. Sombra shits on Zen so hard. Like, they ult, instead of Zen losing 150 shields, he goes down to, 120 health? And he's taking 40% extra damage from Sombra, and she just kills him.
Tracer, pulse pistols, damage reduced from 6 to 5.
Holy shit! This is actually big. Tracer's pistols, from 240 damage a clip down to 200. They finally did it. I think they should nerf it more. It should go down to 180, if not 160. Now, everyone's going to say I'm biased, but fuck Tracer. She's been way too strong for way too long. She needs to be nerfed harder. I think she's still going to be incredibly strong if you don't run specific comps, which is the problem now. So it's a bit bullshitty.
Widowmaker, base health increased from 175 to 200.
I think Widow is getting shit on by flankers. But from what I've heard, the meta is Soldier, Widow for DPS sometimes.
Now let's move on to the support changes. Anna, Sleep Dart, cooldown increased from 12 to 15 seconds.
Sure.
Batiste, Biotic Launcher. Biotic Launcher's secondary fire heal explosion increased from 45 to 50.
So AoE heal on BAP's now better.
Primary fire fall-off range reduced, from 25 to 20 meters.
So that's important. That's a little important. Baptiste primary, it got fall off 5 meters sooner. It's a little bit. It's something.
Regenerative burst total healing increased from 75 to 100.
So a lot of the time, supports heal themselves half as much as they heal everyone else, but that was removed for Baptiste. Now he heals himself for 150
health. Brigitte, Shield Bash no longer stuns enemies.
Yep, we know that.
Cooldown reduced from 7 to 5 seconds. Distance traveled increased from 7 to 12 meters. Movement is no longer stopped when impacting barriers. Damage increased from 1 to 50. Inspire, heal 90. Also, now triggers from Shield Bash damage.
Okay.
Lucio, Sound Barrier ultimate cost reduced by 12%.
Sure.
Mercy, Caduceus Staff, healing 55 health per second.
I think it's 50 right now.
Regeneration.
This is the funniest shit actually in the whole thing.
Passive changed to increase the effects of role support passive rather than being its own regeneration effect. Increased healing from 10 heals per second to 20 heals or health per second. It's not heals per second. What am I going on about? 20 health per second. Decreases wait time before regeneration starts from 2 seconds to 1 second. Moira.
If you don't shoot Mercy for constantly, she heals at 20 health a second. If you don't kill her within 2-3 seconds, she's going to be full health every single time. It's pretty funny. She is regenning like crazy. And she still kept the damage boost? Yeah.
Biotic Grasp, primary fire healing, 70 health per second.
I don't know what Moira's healing right now is.
So there you go, everybody.
But it's apparently 70 HP a second.
That is all of the changes that we...
We'll look at this video just to see some, so here's a really good,
Yo, Flats, why are you...
let's see. So this is her just bullying people with her charge. So she just pushes people in the corner and then kills them. So this is her spin. It's like defensive matrix. It's like Sigma's grasp, whatever you want to call it. It absorbs all It absorbs all attacks as it pushes you back and deals damage. And that's the javelin. It goes very quick. It's on a pretty low cooldown. Here's her ultimate. So you can see it's pulling everyone in. And then a bunch of damage. So the funny part about this is, look, you can see the supports supporting each other. I don't know what the DPS on the spin is, but if it charges for all 4 seconds and Orisa hits the ground, it's 225 damage to everyone. The supports are doing good healing each other until she just puts them into a corner. So you can deal with the tank damage, obviously, by healing through it. Just look at Orisa's health. That spear's so fucking good. She pulled everyone in and then jumped in the pit. Here's some good... Here's Sombra. Just keeps on hacking them.
Why you bullying me?
Just constantly keeping the hack on.
They should buff Sombra.
Sombra's so strong.
Now that's just toxic.
This is but this shows you how hack is now. So it only lasts for 1 second, so she just keeps on trying to hack him. And he keeps on jumping off the wall before his passive gets disabled. For the full duration. Good editing. Yeah, I guess people are saying Sombra really shits on Doomfist for obvious reasons. It's so much damage against Zen. She killed him at like 15 meters. With no help.
What a spear throw.
He's got shatter.
The fucking bullying you can do is insane. She does so much damage.
Nice hack.
Yeah, very, very strong. Now here's Doomfist. So right there's his slam. So you can look wherever you want and just jump there. But you can see punch, 2 shots, Tracer still didn't die. most heroes, they're not going to die very quickly against that.
Kill him, EP, kill him. Fuck him up.
Did you guys watch the AoE on this? Do you see this fucking AoE? Hold on.
Kill him, EP, kill him. Fuck him up. Nice.
This guy's playing Brig in a private alpha.
Okay, that was a good one right there.
Alpha.
You can see so you can see how much damage he doesn't do, but then he has to constantly fill it, like constantly keep pressuring, constantly keep doing things. You see that?
Private alpha.
I believe Doomfist always does. The slam is actually not very strong. I think it's like 50 damage. So there's the AoE. I mean, it's like 10, 15 meters. And while the damage is low, just think about it. He's gaining, what, 35 health and shields for every target he hits with this. But you don't get knocked up into the air. There is no loss of control. You just move slower. Here's that 1 meter radius. You do 300 damage inside that. Outside this, you do 50 to 100 damage. So as soon as you step outside that, a lot less damage.
Animating for anyone else? Is she just sliding around? Animating for anyone else?
Look at this fucking shit. He's at 450. Hits all 3 of them. Goes up to 539 health. God damn. It's bigger than Ball Slam? Oh yeah. Yeah. This is pretty crazy.
Your ass.
Touch spawn.
This tech is called the Rocket Punch Cancel.
What is that?
There's a Doom under Mercy. Questionable ones.
So yeah, I mean,
You ruined
Doomfist-
my life earlier. I'll never forgive you. You're playing.
Doom's looking good. Yeah, Sojourn. This is a little bit sped up.
I killed both sports.
The fact that she slides so goddamn fast. The slide while she's in the air is insane. Sojourn's fucking crazy. Holy shit.
They're gonna C9, they're gonna C9. Nice.
This is the only time we see Junkrat. Someone said his attack, or is like some type of, well, they said that his projectile speed was increased, but I don't know if that's true. But we have no way to check.
the Bastion just fell off the map.
Look how fast that slide is. And that's the end of the video. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I think being able to cancel alts, res, etc. on a 4-second cooldown while invisible is so crazy. Sure, but I hate ultimate, so I'm fine with it. It's just that it seems like Sombra doesn't have a downfall. Like, it seems she does the most damage. Yeah, she has to hack a target first before she can deal that damage. But she can hack while invisible. It seems like Sombra is just insane. Her debuff is the most broken thing so far. The fact that you can see people for 8 seconds through walls is pretty crazy. It should probably be reduced from like the 4 seconds. Should be reduced from 8 to 4. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean that's overall, I'll just sum this up with my thoughts. Overall, they do a lot of things that I wanted them to do. I wanted armor change to deal with headshots. I did it in a different way, but they did it their way. Great. A lot of the changes they did for Orisa, they accomplished the same thing I wanted to accomplish. It seems like there's a lot more options against snipers, but we'll see. None of these maps show any of that Overwatch 1 architecture. All the maps they played that were from Overwatch 1, I didn't see any new cover. I didn't see anything like they said. Everything so far for me is in the right direction. Everything looks like like this is great. It's becoming more like an FPS. They got rid of a lot of stuns. They added slows in. I'm cool with slows. I have no problem against those. They come under, very specific conditions, and they have ways you can deal with them, yada, yada, yada. I think it's all good. Yeah, other than Cassidy's grenade, we're good. I don't know how the fuck that's in the game. How can you complain about Moira's attack, and then you have a 130 damage grenade that you can throw like that and it just sticks on people so easily? Can I show the grenade to Tree? Did he not see it? The sticky part, yeah, I'm fine with. It's the... The fact that it follows him is so stupid. I don't understand why this was the way to compensate for losing Flash. I think they wanted to give McCree something so that he could zone a Tracer out. Or a Genji. It's so stupid. Genji can deflect Bastion's new ultimate and D.Va can eat it. Yeah, it's a projectile, so, yep. Blocked by shields, can be absorbed, all that jazz. It's a homing sticking bomb? Yes. It does. In fact, it does more damage than Junkrat's concussive mine. So, it's a little bit better than concussive mine. Also, it doesn't shoot them into the air where it's harder to hit them, right? Yeah, Hitscan can hit them, but it's difficult for Junkrat to do it. If Junkrat had 2 of those on 8-second cooldown, holy shit, he'd be the best. But yeah. And the fact that what really pisses me off is I know they're not going to reduce the model size in concussive mine. In fact, concussive mine now knocks enemies out of trap range. Yeah, let's look at It's funny, Flats. I'm pretty sure Flats hates me because I was talking in the stream once and he banned me. He says a lot of wrong things also during this. Okay, so here's Trap. I wish he just threw it from farther away. But you can see right there, it breaks. See, he's tethered to it until he gets away, far enough away, and then it breaks. So, yeah, Concussive Mine will break with Trap. I'm trying to think, where did I see the flashing grenade at? He keeps destroying it too fast. He doesn't really use Junkrat much. Right there. There it is. You see how Junkrat's... Watch how this flashes now.
Like 10% your normal speed.
Alright, hold on. I want to see if there's a noise to it. Sorry if he's too loud.
Right.
Okay. He also has a bunch of new voice lines. Someone said it made noise, like it flashes and it would go beep beep beep, but it doesn't do that. I don't know why they added a flash to it. I don't know if they want to dissuade Trap Concussive Mine. I don't know if they don't think it's fair. Just the setting sound? That's always been there, though.
So
Let me try to...
out of it.
Let me see if there's a different noise.
Try again.
On that one, didn't I?
Actually destroys it. Interesting. So Junkrat Trap now works that you can actually move away from it, and it's very much slow. Like, you only move at like 10% your normal speed.
That's long.
Right.
No, that's the same. That's the same setup one. Yeah, Trap. I need to. I need to touch it. I need to grab the trap and see what it's like. Trap. I don't know if it lasts indefinitely now, but you get hit with it, you move 65% slower, and until you get out of, let's say, a 2-meter radius, you will keep on moving 65% slower for forever. Once you get out of that 2-meter radius, the trap breaks, and you can move like a normal speed. It does stop movement abilities. Yeah, I'm not sure. Now, we did say, while Concussive Mine does have a flashing light on it, which I don't think is that big of a deal, because I assumed if you can see it, you can see it. I don't think a flashing light may make that big of a difference. Maybe it makes a difference in... You know why they added it? Let me check. It's hard to tell from here, but it's very, very possible. I see 1025 as it correct. They added it for night mode maps. Normally, Junkrat's, the circle around like the center of Junkrat's mine glows, and I wonder if they got rid of that and they just added the flashing light, so you can't just hide it in the dark. That would be what I think. I think it has to do with the visual things. I bet they were putting concussive mines around where no one saw them in nighttime, and they're like, you can't see this in a dark alleyway. Okay, I can see that. But yeah. So overall, again, I think Overwatch 2 is going in the right direction. I think everything about it is really good. What do I think is... Obviously, the big question is, what do I think about Junkrat in Overwatch 2? Oh, sorry. About Trap Mine, the combo, you can actually put Mine a little bit farther away because Trap now does 100 damage. So technically you can move it a little bit farther away. So mine only has to do 100 damage instead of 120. As for Junkrat being good in Overwatch 2, what do I think about that? Oh, God. From what we know right now, he's in a better place than Current. That's what I can say about this right now. Junkrat. Let me get over here. Let me get big. Junkrat right now. Yeah, McSalt says it correctly. Junkrat doesn't feel too much different. So, if the hero himself doesn't feel different, Trap works a little bit differently. I'm going to assume Trap basically works the same way. For all intents and purposes, I don't see it changing that much. Now, if it works, if they fixed it so it actually worked more often, fuck, that's great. That's a buff. You can throw it farther, it does a little more damage. Cool. Whatever. I really don't give two fucks about that. The fact that it flashes, not that big of a deal. Trap does more damage, so maybe Trap Mine I can do it a little bit differently, so I don't have to put the mine right on top of Trap. I can put it a little bit farther away. Maybe hide it a little bit more. Cool. So, if the hero hasn't changed, then we have to look at what the game has changed around. One less tank. Great. Flanking is viable. Junkrat is a flanker. So, with one less tank, and if I look at the current... first of all, I'll just say this. With the armor reduction that tanks get, if I run into a tank, I'm getting the fuck out of it. I'm not going to fuck with a tank in Overwatch 2, I think. Yeah, I'm like, D.Va, 3-second defense matrix, has a tighter spread and more health. Oh, she also has armor, so she takes 30% less damage from Junkrat. Fuck that. I'm not going to be able to do 700 damage against a tank that's taken the 30% less damage for half of that. There's just no way. I don't see myself fighting in Orisa. She's going to kick my ass close range. Winston, I may have a chance against. Winston and Doom, these leaping heroes, I definitely see Concussive Mind pushing them away and really fucking them up. I see, because you can't do double bubble, because tanks can't combine stuff now, you can zone tanks pretty damn well, even with their knockback reduction. Hog, he's going to take a little bit more damage. He takes one more shot. Other than that, same Hog, right? So I would still not want to fuck with Hog because he has Hook. Hammond has more health. Gets more health from shields. You can kind of mess with Hammond. You can kind of deal with him. He can still whoop your ass if he gets a good slam off, though. Because he has armor, he's taking reduced damage. He's going to take a lot more damage. Just every tank seems like it's going to be a problem. The divey tanks you can kind of zone, but you're not going to fight them. You have extra movement speed so you can run away. Not a big deal. The DPS matchups, they're the same as they were before, except McCree now is better than you at explosives. But he doesn't stun. You have a slight chance to kill him. Maybe. You have like a 5% better chance of killing him than you do now when you get stunned. You actually can fight back for maybe a second. But if he flashbangs you, magnet mines you, and then shoots you, you're going to die, but it does take a second for the explosion to go off. So if he rolls, shoots you, throws a grenade, you have a second to kill him before you die. It seems a lot of the flankers, or the supports, you can kind of kill them. It really feels like, as a Junkrat, on the open field, you suck a little more, but I think closed-in areas, you're a little bit better. I think overall it's a net gain for Junkrat, just because of the overall direction of the game. And maybe I will fully call out my own biasness, because I'm an old school Quake player. I want to find you on the flank and 1v1 you. That's all I want. Overwatch 2 supports my way of playing Overwatch. So I'm going to be like, yes, it's in the right direction. It's going to be good for Junkrat, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I think it's gonna. I think Junkrat's in a better spot. It sucks. The one dev, I'm not upset about it. The one dev's like, oh, I'm so glad I invited Get Quaked on, a Doom specialist, because like he really helped us find all the bugs and do all this cool stuff, all this tech and all these neat things with them. And I'm just like, did you bring in a Junkrat specialist? Like, did you have a specialist for every character? Nah, they don't care about any other character. But I get it. Doom was a big rework and they needed a lot of testing on him. Yeah, I think it's good. I think Overwatch is going in the right direction. Sorry, I gotta do this.